The third kind of path tool is what's called fill pixels. It's the least flexible of all the tools, or at least the path utilization tools, and but nonetheless here it is. First off, once again, we need to look at our options bar here, and we need to pick this third little choice, which is called fill pixels. And whether again you use the pen tool or you use one of the shape tools, doesn't really matter. And as soon as you make a shape, boom, it's going to be filled automatically with whatever, once again, the foreground color is at that time, which is in this case the green, and it simply filled this area and dumped it onto whatever layer was selected. In this case, this one right here, right on top of the dune. So if you were going to use this tool, I would highly suggest you create a new layer. Make sure that is what is active so that you can isolate this, because now you just have a big rectangular green mass on top of the dune, and you can't separate it. This did not show up in the path dialog box, and it is not a path that can be edited like this other one that we created earlier is the shape layer. It's not like that, doesn't have that flexibility, and so this is literally just a chunk of green pixels that were stuck here, and that's all you can do anything with it. So you just got to decide if that's got some kind of usefulness to you. The other thing that is the other part of these pen tools and path tools is another one that is pretty darn nifty, and that is I mentioned earlier, but let's look at it now. When we look at the shape tools, we have not only the regular shapes, but we have this custom shape tool. And this has some very unique features. When we pick the custom shape tool, and I'm going to do it from up top. I'm going to go back up to the options bar and show you. When we pick the custom shape tool, we're going to get something very special going on right over here, and that is, first we pick it and suddenly we have some new options, and this one happens to be a dialog box that gives us a group of custom shapes. Okay, we don't have that with any of the other shape tools. There's nothing like that. There's some filters and that sort of thing, the same group of filters we've seen in a number of places. But with the shape tool, custom shape tool, we get this whole group of little symbols, and there are many others that can be added. And the bottom line is these are vector shapes that we can simply come over to our canvas and voila, we can draw a shape with these tools. And once again, it's not something that is editable as a path, okay? But we can, when we first created it, we could size it in whatever way we wanted. And once again, I might just put it on a new layer, create a new layer, and then we can create and draw any of these shapes, custom shapes, onto our canvas. And not only do we have all of these shapes that we have right here, again, we can make them any size we want while we're drawing, okay? And I could have changed the foreground color and filled it with a different color. We can add some additional symbols here. Once again, when we bring this up, we go over here to our little options button. This is kind of like the old-fashioned options button, and there are a group of different ones here for you to pick, and they can be added or can replace the objects that are already there. For instance, and this is important, if I say add some others, another group of them, you have OK, cancel, and append. What do these things mean? Append means add the new shapes to the palette without removing the old shapes. If we say OK, it's going to replace the old ones completely. They'll go away and the new ones will be here. If we append, in plain English, that means add the new ones to the old ones and keep them all there. So generally we want to append the symbols, and so we have an awful lot of them at our disposal, quickly at our disposal. The other really cool thing about this is you can add shapes to your custom shapes palette. And for instance, when I work on things such as the Tallahassee Democrat ads, I was constantly pulling the Democrat logo, which was an Illustrator graphic, into Photoshop and then manipulating it there. Well, you can bring it into this palette right here and leave it there permanently, and it's like having an image in a library, and it's there all the time. How do we do that? It has to be turned into a path, and then we can add paths to this group of images. So I'm jumping over to Illustrator. I've already set this up, and I have a logo here. Let's call it a logo. I made it very simple, of course, and I'm going to copy it. Command C or Control C on the PC. I selected it. I could, of course, gone, copy up here. All right, and then I go to Photoshop, and I'm going to create a new layer for my logo, which I have here, and I have to paste. Command V, or again edit paste. And here's the important thing. You can drag and drop images between Illustrator and Photoshop, but you won't get this dialog box. So when you copy and paste, you get this. And here, we'll come back and talk about some of these at a later time, but here one of them is I can make it a path, and so this will be put into the paths palette over here automatically. So I'll say OK, and there's my graphic. Okay, let's see here. You can see there it is. I'll go ahead and I'll save it. As I mentioned earlier, I'll save the path, and I'll just call it my logo, and I'll say OK. So it's permanently there. Now that it is there, and it's activated, I can go up here, and in my options button I can say, let's see here, I can tell it I want to add a custom shape. Okay, define custom shape. I'm sorry, I was thinking it was in the dialog box there with the others, but here it is. Define custom shape. And so here I can pick the shape. I can call it my whatever I want to call it. I say OK, and now look, that little thing is right here, and I can bring it up and drop it in place at any time, and then fill it and work it. It is a great little tool and a great little feature. You have to copy and paste so that you get the dialog box that says that you can save it as a path. And by doing that, you can either just leave it as a path that you can turn on and activate, or you can come up here under Edit and say define the custom shape as a path, and it will save it right right in there with the others, and I can call it upon it at any time. Here I'll throw this away, but it's not gone because it's right here, and here it is. Boom. There it is. I come over here, hold my shift key so I don't distort it, and I can drop it on the page as often as I would like. And that's a pretty amazing sort of thing. Before, also, when it was a path, at any time I can turn it into a selection, and then I would be able to fill it with some color, let's say. And there is my logo. And I could then apply some of my other effects here. Okay, and I can do a drop shadow on it, and then I can bevel and emboss it, and that sort of thing. But all that is made possible because, in fact, I brought it in as a path that could be activated, and or brought it in to the custom shapes, and gives me great flexibility, and it's a great tool.